So to be able to have two feelings in your heart at the same time, not a simple thing. To hate the actions of somebody, but just and love them because of the divine soul that they have in them. Or to make it more personal, it could be your own child that you hate some of their actions, but you love them because, after all, it's your child, right? Or someone in your community, someone in your synagogue that, their actions, displeasing to say the least. But yet you feel a bond and a connection. You feel a bond, you feel a connection to that individual. And you can have both things at the same time. And this is very important that we be able to make the distinction, because unfortunately, when we look at a loved one, often we define them by their actions. Actually, that's what we do with just about everybody. We define people by their actions. We don't define them by anything deeper than that. And therefore, their actions is the sum total of who they are. And therefore, you will have a dislike towards them because of their actions. Now, again, I'm not talking about, some, a Nazi. I'm not talking about even what's going on, today in the war. I'm talking about, family members, your community, for the Jewish people, the Jewish people and the community that you belong to. So, there's always going to be someone, that you're just going to dislike. But you have to love them at the same time. Well, actually, I'm sorry. This is only the dislike for this individual and their actions is only for someone that you're close to, your study partner, who's a very great Torah scholar. But if it's someone that is not versed in Torah, or maybe somewhat versed, but wasn't really totally through and through committed, then their deliberate sins are considered inadvertent. And there's no room actually for hatred there. There's no room for hatred. There's only love. Which is a fascinating idea. Not even to hate their actions. Not even to hate their actions, but which is a very powerful idea. Again, the only one that you hate the actions is that Torah scholar who is your close friend who moved away from and left Judaism, or at least the practice of Judaism. So that's few and far between. And even then, love should be the dominant feeling. So just what I want to bring this as in a practical sense is that, there should only be love for others, because how many people are a close friend that are a Torah scholar that you yourself have to be also, on that kind of level. So it's got few and far between. So therefore, for a fellow Jew, just love. Now, we've spoken about what it means, love for someone who's not Jewish. And we spoke about the uniqueness of this love. The love is because of who you are. You are a Jew, which what makes you a Jew? Not because you're an observant Jew. That's what you love about yourself. Now, really, really good observant Jew, and that's what I feel good about myself. No, I mean, I shouldn't say that. You should feel good about that if you're doing good, but that's not what is your true, the true love that you have for yourself. Because what happens if you don't do good a certain day, or you're just down? So where's your love? Well, your love should be a much deeper one. For the fact that you are a Jew, the fact that you have this Jewish soul, and by that virtue, Every other Jew has the same exact soul in its root source, and that's why we are literally brothers and sisters. We're literally related to each other from the soul level, not from the physical level. Different mother, different father, different family, but from the soul level. And therefore, there's only room for love. Now, let's be practical. That's, if we're really a Beinoni, we're going to be there. But if we're only a Beinoni in training, a BIT, so there's going to be times we hate. We have to be careful about that hate. We have to make sure that that hate is only for the actions and not for the person. That's very important. Hate their actions, but don't hate them. Love them. And where can we make that distinction in a simpler, easier way? Is a child of yours, because in the end, there's an intrinsic love that you feel for that child, so you have that love. But sometimes their actions you really dislike, even hate them, because they're self-destructive for that child, and they don't realize it. They don't even realize it because they're so living in a darkness. So now the issue is that sometimes it's not so easy to feel the love towards him, because what we're seeing is the action, and especially if that action was done against me. So if done against me, then for sure the love that I would naturally have for them is kind of vaporized. It's not there. So this is the key, and this is the key of today's class. Compassion. Think for a moment. They have a divine soul. They have something so beautiful within them. And it's appreciation for them, not for them vis-a-me, for them who they are. And now they've got such a beautiful soul within them that's imprisoned. You feel bad. You feel compassionate. And then that compassion can redeem the love that will allow you to feel a love towards them once again, which is powerful. So I strongly suggest this concept of compassion in relationships that you implement. So, for example, I give it in general, like, your child, your spouse did something, not so pleasant, and all you can see is the unpleasant behavior towards you, right? That we have to be very careful, because we have to not let that cloud us. So could you imagine, you think to yourself, wow, my spouse, she, he, or if it's a she, and not if it's a she, maybe he, no, she's a she and a he's a he. They're really suffering. Look at the way she blurted that out. She's in pain. And she doesn't realize the pain that she's in is because there's a gaping hole in her soul. And because of that, she said this. What a pity. What a pity. Not recognizing that there's such a beautiful soul within, and wasn't able to find her true inner self. You say that to yourself about your spouse or about your child, that will bring a redemption of the love that we can have towards them. Powerful. And we need to use it. All right. Questions, comments, don't forget. Question marks before you ask a question, so that way I know that it is a question. Um, Kalos, is this an extension of love between Esav and Jacob? Um, Good question. I need to think about that. Um, what happens if a well-known Jew who don't know personally goes off the derech and tries to change others publicly? How do you feel about them? I mean, any bad thing that's done, you will hate the bad that's done, of course, right? Um, that's for sure. We're talking about, it's not about how you feel from them from a distance, because that's not too relevant. How do you feel about them? You know, how do you feel about them in relationship to them? How do you deal with them? So it's not about, how do you think of them? It's, you have, anyways, I hope that was okay, clear. MC, balance. A non-Jew can convert to Judaism, but it's different than being a Jew by blood. Is that correct? No, it's not actually. Thank you for that question. Not at all. A Jew by blood, which is there's no such thing as a Jew by blood. That concept of a Jew by blood came from Hitler and Nazis. There's no such thing as a Jew by blood. A Jew is by soul, and that soul is given by God. So, if you convert according to Jewish law, and that's important, it needs to be done by Jewish law, then you are 100% Jewish, as I am, that I come from, parents and grandparents that are Jewish. No difference. And I don't say that as a, as just as a show, or to placate anybody, but in 100% there is no difference. That person is 100% Jewish, because it's not a blood thing, it's not a cultural thing, it's not a race thing, it's a soul thing, and that soul is in the convert just as it is in a regular Jew. So that's important. That's very important that we appreciate that. Okay? Yeah. Yeah, you come out from the mikvah like you are a new person. Exactly. Thank you. John, how does the hatred apply to Malachi, where it says God hated Esav? That's yeah. That's referring to idolatrous nations. That's the idea there. Um, Now it's important that the conversion be done according to Jewish law. So, should we be like Pinchas when we saw the fellow committing a sin publicly? We have to be careful with that. No, not generally not to be done. Aren't Jews recognized by matrilineage? Um, so it's by a Jewish mother that the soul comes. So if the mother is Jewish and the father isn't Jewish, then you're endowed with a Jewish soul that God endows. It comes by way of the mother. It's not the mother who gives the soul, but she's the bearer of it through her. I hope that is clear. Davida, yes, we should use Yosef as an example who forgave his brothers. Very good, thank you. Born again if you convert into yes. It's like, yeah, it's like you're. Okay. What tribe is a convert? That's a good question. I have to look that up. I don't remember now. That's a good question. Good question. Give me a moment here. On Instagram, do I see a question here? Oh, Batimloch. Your firstborn daughter is getting married this week on Sunday. Beautiful. Mazel tov, mazel tov. Beautiful. Bella, even dealing with the toxic people, use compassion. If they're loved ones, yeah. It works. I see it in my own life, dealing with sometimes people that are, in a toxic place, in a difficult place. And the more I'm able to have compassion and to express love to them, it kind of, makes it go away. Does connection bring redemption? Yeah, I don't know what you mean by that, Jennifer, exactly. What kind of connection do you mean? Doing a mitzvah, yes. Okay. Michael, please share.
Yes, the previous Rabbi said that we should have also compassion if the Torah says we shouldn't have compassion about a person. Is this what is written in the Talmud, that everyone who takes the verse literally is almost like a heretic?
Could you repeat that? Because I didn't catch it.
The Rebbe and the Rebbe and the previous Rebbe said we should have compassion for people even when Torah says we shouldn't. We should try it.
Okay.
Yes, and in Talmud is written, whoever takes the verse literally acts almost like a heretic.
Right. Okay. So. Okay. So yeah, there is. Talmud says in certain places that on such people don't have compassion. So the previous Rebbe said, "Wow, what unbelievable compassion there must be. We must have that in other words, it's so profound and deep that the Talmud tells us, our sages teach us that such a person isn't due to have compassion." That's wow. That's really Nebuch. That's really what a pity. Like wow, it's so low. Yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, absolutely correct. Absolutely, very nice. I just saw something here. I'm actually obvious. I am having Joe. Okay. Sarah has a question on Instagram. Thrice 5. Got candlesticks for Shabbos. Beautiful. Use them in good health. How can you still give love but try not to push them away as you can see the pain in them? And it's difficult because they still daven from time to time and yet seem lost. Again, compassion is a very deep thing. And for someone who is lost, to have compassion for them, even in the face of being, abused by them verbally, let's say, they're just nasty, right? And the natural reaction is to recoil, to remove yourself. Who needs this, right? It's true. I understand that. A greater and healthier person is able to not feel their challenge, their difficulty, their hurt, but a real healthy person is able then to get beyond their own hurt and see, oh my gosh, look how hurt they are, that they had to act so nasty. Your spouse, your child. Wow, what a pity. And you have compassion for them. That's beautiful. I hope that shed some light. Rachel, please share with us.
Bye. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for having me every day here. I think I had an aha moment of the day today for what you said, and it's going to stay with me. I really appreciate that you said hate the action and not hate the person, and this is really a game changer. Regardless of what, we shouldn't hate any human being or any person, but we can hate their actions, and hopefully that would change to love eventually. Just wanted to mention that. Thank you so much. I moved that myself down to audience.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. Now, some people, their evil is so evil that they become the embodiment of it. But for the most part, not. For the most part, not. Yes. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. But if we can do that now. By the way, it's interesting. Jewish law, we just learned, we're just learning actually, that if someone comes after you to kill you, so the mitzvah is that actually you kill them. I mean, if you can stop them with not killing them, then you have to do that. But if the only way to stop them is by killing them, the fact that they're after you to kill you, so you can't say, well, let me just hate their action but love them. No. All of that, right now, you have a different mitzvah to fulfill, and that is to kill such a person, as the Torah tells us. That's even speaking about a fellow Jew who's trying to do that, right? Not saying, not making a distinction. So, a fellow Jew who you have the obligation to love them as yourself, but they have forfeited their lives by trying to come after me to kill me. So therefore, I can kill them if that's the only way I can save myself. Again, if you could stop them by not killing them, then and you do kill them, then you're a murderer. The point that I want to bring out is that we have to be careful that this attitude means that I am very pacifist and very, don't fight back. No. So, for example, like in the land of Israel, the Jewish people there, and there's nations around them that want to annihilate the Jewish people. We didn't say, well, I hate your actions, but I love you. No, that's not the way to look at it, because the way to look at it is I got to protect the Jewish people in the land of Israel, and for that matter, all the people that are there, right? And if it means, to do whatever's necessary, so we don't look at some terrorist who has killed innocent children and say, well, I love you, but I just hate what you do. No. We go and find those terrorists and we kill them. Why? Because that's the mitzvah, right? That's the mitzvah that's incumbent upon us, because that person is seeking to kill. And if that person is seeking to kill, the mitzvah is that we have to get up and not allow them to do that and stop them from doing that. So, we have to be careful, because if we would get kind of like lost with, oh, but I love him. No, 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 no. Be careful with that. Just want to make sure, because it can really go south and have a real wrong, connotation. Now, if you have the opportunity that you can try to help that person and bring them out of their hatred, so, and you can influence them, then fine, absolutely. Now, I believe that every single terrorist, I believe that, the Russians, what they're doing, and the terrorists that do things to Israel, all of them, they're created in the image of God. And there's a goodness that's deep down in there. They may have forfeited their lives. Remember, we've spoken about this before, that death can help achieve atonement. It's part of an atonement process. So death is, sometimes a good thing for such a person. For them, let alone society, because they are a terror to society. They're a murderer, right? But for them, it could be a very good thing. That's a very different take on it. So, I truly believe that's what Torah teaches us, that every human being created in the image of God. So there's something in them that's good. They may have forfeited their lives, and that's how I have to look at them, as they're forfeited their lives and take their lives if necessary, right? Again, a murderer, terrorist, and whatever the case may be. And that's how I have to deal with the situation, and not turn the other cheek, and not be passive. No, not at all. So that distinction, I hope, is clear. Thank you, Rachel, for bringing up what you brought up, because I think it was an important point. But again, just to make sure that there's a clarity in the distinction between all of the topics at hand. All right, I got to run over here, folks. As always, it's amazing. It's a pleasure. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. If I didn't answer all the questions, we'll continue our conversation, God willing, tomorrow. See you then. Be well. Have a wonderful day.